Hey folks, we've got another factoring problem to work on, and this one says we are to use the grouping method. Well, it makes sense to me because if I look for a greatest common factor, which is always the first thing we should try, I don't see any. 2, 5, 12, there's no GCF with those things. They don't share any factors. So at first I'm kind of stumped. And what we're going to do instead is a little trick where you focus on that 2 right there, which I call A, and this negative 12 right here, call C, and we multiply them together. So I say 2 times negative 12. So that's going to be my negative 24. And then I look at that term in the middle, and that's my B. That's going to be 5. Now, what I'm getting out of this is looking at these numbers this way is going to tell me how to split up that middle term into two things. See, my goal is eventually to turn that 5x into something else. And the way I do that is in this chart over to the right. So what I want is two numbers which add up to 5, and they're going to multiply to negative 24. Now you can guess around, and that's usually some trial and error, but I think I can get pretty close with 8 and 3, right? 8 times 3 is 24, and they're 5 apart. All I need to do is just make sure this one's a negative, right? If I say 8 and negative 3, now they multiply to negative 24, they add up to 5, I am good to go and just stick them over here. Okay, so what does that get us? This polynomial has now been rewritten. It's exactly the same right here, except it's 4 terms, not 3. But what I can do with that is I can split it down the middle and say, hey, wait a minute, there is a GCF now. There's a GCF on the left of 2x. And what happens when you factor that out is you get x plus 4. And there is also a GCF on the right side, and that's 3. And if you factor that out, you get negative x minus 4. Now this is not so great, particularly because that negative sign in front of the x, that thing right there, when that's negative, it generally messes me up a lot. So we want to try to avoid those. And how can I make that not negative? Well, I could just factor out a negative. So that way this becomes positive x plus 4. And now that's much nicer because these things match. So I'm going to take my x plus 4s, which match, and put them down here. And I'm going to take the coefficients, 2x minus 3, and put those right there. And you may be wondering, well, okay, how is that working? Like, you can see where the terms connect to each other, but how do we know that this thing down here is actually equal to what we started with? Can we prove it? Well, I have an easy way to prove it, but it involves going backwards. So take a look at this. If I were to multiply this negative 3 times my x plus 4, that's basically this right here. And if I were to multiply my 2x by x plus 4, well, that's this part over here. So you can see I've accounted for all the terms. I've just gone backwards. Instead of doing multiplication, which we're more comfortable with, I kind of did division right there, which is essentially what factoring is. So there's your factoring by grouping technique. I'd say the only challenge is when you're doing this, things to watch out for. Make sure you get these terms over here right, and be careful when you're factoring out your GCFs. Okay, that's the most common source of mistakes.